So if you take a look at the folder in front of you, you will see many facts that are enlightening about our current situation.
Hello, KRUI. You're listening to 89.7 FM or KRUI.FM. My name is Justin Comer. This is iHearIC Radio, a show about local artists, mostly musicians, but we try to get other people in here too. Today I have a special guest with me. Say hello to Rose Bishop.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Rose. Rose, what do you do?
I play the flute professionally.
All right, we've got a professional flutist in the studio today, so we'll dig into Rose's life a little bit. Before we jump into the show, I just want to make a quick announcement. We have finished scheduling venues for the iHearIC concert series for this fall, and the dates and venues for that will be August 31st at the Mill, September 21st at the Java House, October 5th at High Ground Cafe, November 2nd at the Java House again, and December 1st at the Trumpet Blossom. So we'll be having a bunch of free shows. All of those start at 8 p.m., and if you want to keep track of those, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter, or check out our website, iHearIC.com. All right, I've got that out of the way, and let's talk to Rose now. Can you bring the mic a little bit closer to your mouth? That'll work. All right, so Rose, you said specifically you are a professional flutist.
Yes.
So what do you do for money, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I teach and I play. So I teach at Culver Stockton College in Missouri, Cornell College in Mount Vernon. Starting next week, I will be teaching at Kirkwood Community College and Mount Mercy University.
Oh, sweet.
I recently won 2 auditions, one as second flute and piccolo of the Ottumwa Symphony, and then the principal flute position of the Southeast Iowa Symphony. And one project that I've been involved with lately is the Durward Music Ensemble.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll ask you some more details about them in a little bit. First off, you live here in Iowa City?
Coralville.
In
yes.
Coralville? Okay. All of those things you mentioned are not in Coralville, so you travel a lot, huh?
I do. I also have a home base teaching at West Music, so I have a very large private studio there as well.
Cool. So that's two orchestras that you play for,
yes,
right? And then
regularly. Mm-hmm. I sub with a lot of
and then
others.
like 4 or 5 schools?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So you've got a busy schedule, it looks like.
Yes.
And are you still a student?
No.
Okay. You got your DMA here?
Master's
here. Okay.
In 2015.
Okay. Do you have any plans to continue your education?
As of right now, no. I kind of built a little bit of an empire here, and I'm really happy doing what I'm doing. I feel like I'm making a difference for the community, and I really enjoy what I do. Yeah,
it sounds like you're not having trouble picking up work, so you may not need another degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back in time a little bit. When did you first pick up a flute?
6th grade. I'm actually from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
And that's when we start band, is in 6th grade,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and like 5th grade in most places in Iowa. I started on the oboe, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to play the flute, but we had an army of them, and the band director thought, well, we need an oboe player, so you're going to play the oboe.
Yeah, you got bullied into it.
No, I fought really hard. I was like, I have to play the flute. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. I had kind of a similar thing. I wanted to play sax. There were like 10 kids that wanted to play sax, so they tried to get me to play trombone, but I just didn't.
You have to stand your ground as a kid.
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
If you're passionate about something, you have to stick with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I would have kept it going if I'd picked up a trombone instead.
Yeah.
Nothing against trombone. It's not for me.
It wasn't your thing.
Yeah,
That's
that wasn't
okay.
mine. So you started on oboe. When did you ditch the oboe for the flute?
About a month in.
Okay, so
Every
not
day
long.
I said, I want to play the flute. I don't like the oboe.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the oboe. It's beautiful, but it just wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had this crazy idea that if my mom bought me a flute,
mm-hmm.
and I showed up to band with a flute, and it worked.
Yeah.
They thought, okay, well, she's going to be a little sassy about this. We'll let her have it.
Yeah.
and I never looked back.
So the oboe, I assume, was a school horn?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was mostly broken.
Yeah, right. Okay, so did you have any sort of musical activities before that? before band?
No, I never played piano. I never did anything before that. I had seen Fantasia the summer before going into 6th grade, and I thought, well, that shiny tube right there, that's really
Yeah. Okay, so you played flute starting in 6th grade. Mm-hmm. Any sort of like important milestones in middle school while you were playing in Atlanta?
Middle school, no. I was kind of like every other child, just wanted to be happy and play outside with my friends.
Mm-hmm. And not practice flute.
Yeah, I mean, I did practice, just I wasn't the top of the line, in junior high. But then I got to high school, and it was about my sophomore year when I started to realize that I had something. A band director that had come in to do a clinic with us was like, wow, you're really good. You should really practice.
Yeah.
And I think he was just saying that because we all needed to practice.
Right.
But it stuck. And so then I thought, okay, well, I'm going to practice and see what happens. And then I got into school. I got a full ride for my undergrad. And I thought, okay, well, let's see what happens. This is something that I really enjoy. And I wasn't sure, going into my undergrad if I could make it, because that's the whole scary part of being a musician is, can you pay your bills?
Right.
Can you put food on the table? It's a scary idea. But if you really go at it with everything you've got, you can truly make it.
Right. So at what point were you taking private lessons?
I never had a private lesson until my undergrad.
Really? None at all before college?
Not a single one.
Okay.
And you were... band director was a saxophonist.
Yeah.
He was pretty good at the flute, so I, had sort of a little bit of one-on-one with him, but never with a flutist until my undergrad.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were in Atlanta through high school then?
Through undergrad, and then I moved here.
So you
for
were
my
still
master's.
in Atlanta
Yeah.
for college. What school was that?
Georgia State University.
Okay, cool. And who'd you study with there?
Sarah Ambrose.
All right, cool.
Yeah, she was amazing. She still is. She's really great.
And is that a flute performance BA or M?
BM.
Okay, cool. And so what drew you here for graduate school?
Well, I took lessons with a bunch of different people, and I applied to different schools, and I came here. I had a lesson with Nicole Esposito, and it changed my life. She really did.
Yeah?
She was the first person that truly believed in me, outside of that one thing I had in high school. And she really pushed me to way beyond my boundaries, way further than I thought I could go. And, I owe a lot to her. She helped me become what I am today.
Nice. So when you say she pushed you beyond your boundaries, do you have a specific example of that?
Well, for example, I, like any young musician, learning how to practice efficiently is one of the hardest things we have to figure out. And she taught me that. Because before, you play through things and you think you've got it, but then she had a very thought-provoking way of practicing of, what do you think about that? Record yourself. What did you think about that? And from there on, it was like, oh, it just something clicked, So that's what I strive to teach in my students early on is this is how you practice. If you run it straight through 100 times and you're making mistakes each time, that's not practicing.
Right. So you mentioned recording yourself. So are you talking about recording just like a short phrase within a piece that you're working on?
Yes, or the whole thing. You want to. It's hard to play and hear exactly what's happening because you have so many things that you're thinking about while you're playing.
Yeah.
So it's like almost having another person there, another set of ears. So then you can go back and listen and say, okay, I thought that articulation there was really good. Oh, it wasn't. Let's figure out why and how to fix it.
Right. And I mean, you don't hear yourself the same way an observer would hear you at all.
It's very different.
You're hearing yourself like within your own head, and it's a totally different sound than
when you first start out. It's really depressing.
Right. Yeah. It's a weird experience. People have trouble like listening to recordings of their own voices. That's a pretty common thing. And it's the same hearing yourself playing an instrument. It doesn't sound the same in your head as it does like in the air that other people are hearing.
Yeah, but Professor Esposito, she really taught me how to do all of that. And from then on out, there was a lot of just, how do I do this? How do I do that? How did I do that and recreate it? So from then on out, it was a lot easier.
Yeah, and what years were you studying here at the university?
2013 to 15.
Okay, cool. So we overlapped by 1 year. I was working on my master's in composition here.
Yeah.
From 12 to 14.
Okay.
Yeah. And did we like know each other then? I can't really remember.
Well, it was hard. Back then we were in like 8 different buildings.
Yeah.
So unless, I think we had a class together at one point, but other than that, it's really hard to meet people outside of your ensembles or your studio because we're all so spread out.
It's really crazy like how fractured the music department was when you and I were students here.
Yeah.
Like even both being music students, we didn't really cross paths that much. It's one department of the whole school, and we weren't like in contact really.
I was across the river,
yeah,
and you were probably in the old Capitol.
Right. Most of the band and orchestra stuff was in the old art museum building across the river, and I was mostly in the old Capitol Mall at the time.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
How far they've come. I mean, the new building is amazing.
Yeah, Voxman's huge, and everyone's under the same roof, which I assume is very beneficial to more collaboration.
Yes.
Between the different studios.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So were you involved in new music at all while you were studying here?
A little bit here and there. Not as much as other people. I was kind of trying to still figure out what I wanted to do after. So it was a lot of that sort of self-discovery.
Right.
I feel like a master's degree is just so short. And before I realized it was already done, Right.
Yeah. I feel pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. It's the shortest 2 years I've lived.
Yeah. Probably the most stressful too, right?
Probably, yeah. So did you do some sort of thesis project while you were here?
No.
Okay. Just recitals and stuff?
Just a recital, yep.
So just one recital?
I did one just solo recital, and then I did a lot of studio recitals. We had flute quartet recitals. We had a lot of different things going on that were really awesome. Nicole really kind of helped us grow together. And when, even with all of the buildings, we were still able to get enough performances in, which was great.
All right. So tell me what pieces you can remember performing in all of those recitals.
My favorite was a piccolo piece by Matt Smith called The Nth Degree.
The what?
The Nth Degree.
Okay, the Nth Degree.
NTH.
Yeah.
It's still to this day my favorite piece.
And that's a solo?
It's piccolo and piano.
All right. I think you said that already. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, when I'm in a radio conversation, it's different than like just talking to someone. Like I'll hear what you say, but I'll be thinking about what I need to say next. And sometimes the details just like fly by.
It's all good.
Yeah, I didn't mention this at the top of the show, but I try to keep a very casual atmosphere here. So Rose and I have not really planned out our conversation at all. We're just sort of...
We're winging it.
Yeah, we're just talking to each other, seeing where it goes. So that piece was The Nth Degree by Matt Smith. It's a piccolo and piano piece. All right. So how, in that piece, how does he deal with the... how do I want to phrase this? The piccolo has a very high range. What's the lowest note on a piccolo?
A low D.
Low D. And that's where on a treble staff?
The note below. Just below.
Just below. So that's like the middle of the piano's range. So how does the composer, Matt Smith, blend these instruments together when half of the piano's range is not at all in the piccolo's range?
Well, it was really interesting, at least for the piccolo part. There were a lot of the lower register notes that were really gorgeous. And it was with piano, it was a little lighter texture in those places. Obviously, the piano can definitely drown out the piccolo in the low register.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The piccolo is very quiet below, really its lowest octave.
It can be really loud, but it's more of a timbre than a dynamic, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. So you can be loud in that lower register, but it can still be covered up by the piano just because of its... How would you describe the low piccolo timbre?
Just very, it's like wood and chocolate, almost.
Wood and chocolate,
yeah.
Okay.
it's really beautiful when done right.
I'd have to hear the piece, which I don't believe I have. I need to play a public service announcement real quick. So this is kind of fun because it's on like a random rotation, so I don't know what I'm going to get. So let's see what we get today.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. A lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
That's just one adoption story that started at a shelter. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
All right, that's a new one to me. I haven't heard the Keyboard Cat PSA yet. But it could give us a jumping off point for the next chunk of our conversation. Do you have any keyboard experience?
Just in undergrad, we had to take 4 semesters of piano.
Okay.
I relate to Keyboard Cat in that when I try to do both hands together,
they move together.
They move like the Keyboard Cat.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it. It's really
right. Yeah, Rose is moving her arms sort of parallel to each other. It's not an independent movement. The arms are linked together.
I feel as though I have mittens on my hands, and I mean I can do things, one hand, but together I feel totally lost.
Mm-hmm.
I just never really worked hard enough on piano.
It's really different. The thought process behind like a chord instrument.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like the piano, you can play a bass line, you can play some chords, and you can play a melody like all at once.
Yeah.
And your background is in the flute. I'm mostly a saxophonist, and we're like one line. we can't think about more than one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can, but we're not forced to playing our main instruments. So it's a very big leap in coordination between the hands and like thinking about multiple lines in the music at once.
Yeah. Well, we think about things a little differently because we have to worry about things like vibrato, pitch, so we have to worry about other things.
And the piano can't even do that.
Yeah.
Vibrato,
I'd rather worry about that than 2 hands.
Yeah. We can perfect that one line.
Mm-hmm.
We can make it more powerful.
Yeah.
The piano can only do one thing.
I mean, it's beautiful and it's really great. I have a lot of respect for people that can play piano. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, for sure. But the piece we were just talking about had a piano part. Who did you play that with?
Minji Kwan.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know the
She was
person,
a pianist when I was in school.
Cool.
She was great.
Any other accompanists you'd like to shout out at this time?
Well, I'm doing a couple of recitals this year with Jason Sifford.
Okay.
A pianist colleague of mine.
Mm-hmm.
He and I met at West Music. We both teach there. He's about to start teaching at Cornell College in the fall. So we're kind of planning some faculty recitals together.
Right. And Cornell was one of the schools you were already teaching at?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the new ones this year are Kirkwood and
Mount Mercy.
Mount Mercy, right.
Yes.
Yeah. I have some friends that went there.
It's a great school.
Yeah, it's nice. It's grown a lot in the past few years. Yeah.
Their band program especially.
Yeah. Okay. What am I missing? There was Cornell, Kirkwood, Mount Mercy, and
Culver Stockton College, which is in
that's
Missouri.
in Missouri. Okay. How far of a drive is that?
It's about an hour and 45 minutes one way.
How many days are you teaching there?
2.
So you are going there and back 2 days a week?
2 days a week. This is my 5th year.
5th year teaching there. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when this school year starts, let's talk about your weekly schedule. All right. So Monday, what are you doing Mondays?
It'll be probably Kirkwood and Cornell, and then rehearsals with the Southeast Iowa Symphony.
And where are they based?
Southeast Iowa Symphony?
Yeah.
We are in Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant. Okay. So is that an hour
50,
from here? Yeah. Roughly an hour from here. Okay. And then Kirkwood and Cornell on Mondays?
Yeah.
Okay. And I assume you're going to the Cedar Rapids Kirkwood campus?
Yes.
Okay. And Cornell is in Mount Vernon, right?
Yes. So it's like a 15-minute drive.
Yeah. So we've got like half an hour up to Kirkwood, 15 to Cornell, and then like an hour, roughly an hour
from Cornell, yeah.
down to your Southeast Iowa Symphony rehearsals. Okay. And that's Monday.
Yep.
All right. And then after that, you'll drive home to Coralville? Yep. Okay.
We rehearse until 9:30.
So that's about 3-ish hours of driving on Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. Tuesday,
I'm in Missouri. I teach the flute students as well as a music appreciation course. So I will be in there on Tuesdays until about 4. And then I either come back and have the afternoon off, or I regularly sub with the Quincy Symphony in Illinois, which is about a 20-minute drive from Culver, Stockton.
Okay, you sub with them?
Mm-hmm.
How often do you get jobs there?
Play about like 5 concerts a year.
Okay, cool.
It's pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so Tuesday, your commute all put together is like 3 to 4 hours, something like that?
If Quincy's involved, it's 5.
Okay. All right, so we've got we'll say about 8 hours, and that's in 2 days.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your Wednesday look like?
Wednesday, I teach from 10:30 until about 9 o'clock at night.
Okay, and that's here?
At my apartment, and then at West Music.
Okay, so not a lot of commute, but that's a long work day.
Yeah, long drive. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or day.
Yeah. Tell me the time again.
So I start at 10:30. I have a little bit of an hour and a half break for lunch, and then I teach. Well, I teach at Regina High School as well. I teach a few students there, so I go to Regina, and then I go back to West Music.
Okay, and you're done at 9, you said?
I teach at West Music until 8 when they close, and then I teach until 9, another hour at my apartment.
Okay, so you've got 10-ish hours if you take out that lunch break. Okay, but not a lot of commute that day. No. So Wednesday is nice in that regard. All right, what's Thursday look like?
Thursday's roughly the same as Tuesdays, but then I have usually the afternoon off on Thursdays.
Okay, cool. So we'll add 5-ish hours to that one too, which puts you at, I think, 13 hours of driving. Think
about how much I'm driving.
I know. I just want to get a clear picture of this.
Yeah.
All right. And then what's your Friday look like?
Friday will be Mount Mercy and Cornell again. And then I have the afternoon off.
Okay, so not bad. Just 5
hours of teaching.
Yeah, and about an hour of driving total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so not a bad Friday. And then I assume on the weekends you line up a lot of gigs too.
Yes, so I do have a lot of gigs on the weekends. Teaching-wise, I teach from 9 until 1 on Saturday, straight. And then I will either have gigs Saturday and Sunday, or I have starting Saturday at 1 o'clock until Monday morning off.
Okay, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm. I worked very hard to maneuver the schedule.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Rose's professional life right now.
Yeah.
It's a lot of moving around.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you're looking at if you want a career teaching and performing.
The way I look at it, if you enjoy being this constant object in motion,
yeah,
I say totally do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a 9 to 5 and a weekend, the performance and teaching schedule might not be for you.
Yeah.
Unless you go on to get a university job, in which case you'll need another degree.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. So.
Yeah. Yep, I understand. We're in the same boat there. Okay, so you've got a pretty regular schedule. It is very busy, and there's a lot of commute involved, but you do have a routine.
Yes.
So do you get a lot of time to practice to yourself?
I do.
In there?
Yeah. The goal is about 2 to 3 hours a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. What kind of stuff are you working on right now?
Well, I just won those 2 auditions. That was pretty big for me.
Yeah.
And then I went to a summer festival in Bryn Mawr, Philadelphia, where I got to study with members of the Philadelphia Orchestra for 3 weeks. It was insane and amazing, and I loved every minute of it. So that kind of put things in a new perspective. You know, when you live in an area where all you see is you a lot of the times, it's hard to sort of compare what you're doing, like you're playing, to for example, I regularly take auditions, but I never take the really big ones, something like Detroit or Cincinnati, because I always thought that's just not for me. I would never win a job like that. And then I got to Philly, and that kind of changed.
So now you want to take on these big auditions?
Yeah.
What do you have in your sights?
We'll see.
Yeah, it's okay if you don't have anything specific in mind, but
I do. I just
or if you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay,
got a
that's
lot of plans, a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, that's good. That it gave you, I guess, a boost in confidence,
It
or
did. Yeah,
just
it really did.
So you felt like when you say it wasn't for you, do you feel like you weren't a good enough performer to win those auditions, or what is it?
It was more along the lines of the process that goes into auditioning for something like that without wasting your time.
Yeah.
It's a big undertaking. Several hours a day practicing every single day. You have to work really, really hard. And that was something that I thought, well, I'm really happy what I'm doing. I'm paying my bills. I'm just trying to live my life. And then I thought, well, I think by the time I'm 50, I'm going to regret not at least trying. So
now you're taking the opportunity.
Yes.
All right. I see. And while we're on the subject of auditions, you want to tell us about your most recent audition? Maybe like give us a little insight into the experience for you.
Well, it was really interesting. When you're teaching as much as this last year, I was teaching a lot more than I am now. And I was driving a lot more. I say a lot more. I'm driving a lot now.
Well, yeah.
So
if it's more than what you're planning on once the school year starts, that's a lot of driving.
When you drive a lot and you teach a lot and you do a lot of things every day and you come home, it's really easy to just eat dinner and go to bed or watch TV for a couple hours. It's really easy to get into a routine of just trying to stay afloat.
Yeah, well, understandably, I mean, your working life it can be exhausting.
Yes.
Yeah.
This year was sort of a unique experience in that I got 2 sinus infections. I had bronchitis from October until April, and I had pneumonia twice.
Okay, wow.
Yes, I was sick October to April.
Wow.
Yeah, it never really got better. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
So do you think that was brought on by your heavy workload or made worse by that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to pay off some debt, paid off my car a couple years early, things like that. You know, you want to pay down as a musician as much debt as you can because you're going to have some probably.
Yeah.
So I got really sick. I think just being worn out. I was teaching 7 days a week. So that was part of it, I think. I never really took time off because I just thought, hey, things are going really well. I don't want to say no.
Right. You got to take the work when you can get it because it's not always consistent. Mm-hmm.
So then once I recovered from pneumonia, I sort of reevaluated things and thought, okay, that's not going to work. So let's tweak some things. And so I maneuvered my way into getting a full day and a half off every week, which is a huge undertaking as a musician that's hustling.
Yeah.
And I used that time to practice. I started practicing. I started realizing that I missed this. I missed practicing hours every day and seeing the progress that I was making. Back to recording yourself, I record myself almost every day. And I like to listen to what I can make better each week. And it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a week. Sometimes it can take a year to change something. But I started seeing progress. And the day after I performed the last concert I played with the Audition Symphony, the day after that concert, I got a job offer. So that's how well that practicing went.
Right. And the job offer was with the Audition Symphony?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
so
how I won.
You were subbing before that? Or?
Yes,
okay.
I was subbing before that. An opening came available, and they hired me. We had a really big concert that was very piccolo heavy, a lot of Shostakovich, and it's the best I've ever played.
Nice.
And
so they hired you on that,
Yeah.
hearing you at that concert.
Yes.
Nice.
It was incredible because I had no idea that there was an opening. They had been testing out some subs, and I won.
Awesome.
So then from there, I started thinking, okay, how do I keep going? How do I get better? How can I make my process more efficient? Because time is always a factor. There's never enough time.
Yeah.
And I developed a process, and it worked. And I won the principal flute position with the Southeast Iowa Symphony.
And that was more of a traditional audition situation? Yeah. What did you have to prepare for that?
We did 2 concerti and 6 excerpts, orchestral excerpts. But bunch of the big ones like Carnival of the Animals, the Voliere, which is all double tongue.
Yeah.
We did Tchaik 4, flute excerpts, Mendelssohn, Scherzo, all the main flute excerpts that I had been working on, which was good. Those are always sort of excerpts you got to pull out of your back pocket at any point in time.
Right. So these are just things. Did you know ahead of time that you would need them, or just you usually do need them for these auditions?
You always want to keep them going because there's like a standard 5 that are used for every audition.
Yeah.
Including the Mozart concerto. It's almost always asked for every audition. So you have to keep those going. And then whatever gets added to the list, those are the ones you have to spend the most time on because those are the ones that you probably haven't worked on as much. Usually with an audition, you find out as late as 2 weeks before the audition. Usually you'll find out 2 or 3 months before the audition what they're asking.
Okay.
With any typical audition, you submit a resume, and it's a 1-page resume. They screen it, and if they see it and think, okay, she has enough experience, we'll invite her. Mm-hmm. And that's how you find out. Usually you don't find out until a few weeks before that audition. If you get rejected, it sucks.
Well,
it's just, but you know, the most important thing that you have to hold on to is that you did all that work that made you better.
Right.
So then you have to keep going. And so I think auditions are really the best way to improve on your instrument is taking auditions regularly.
If you don't mind me asking, and I assume like you're past this now, but how many rejections have you experienced?
A lot. You know, as a musician, you'll experience thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands upon thousands of rejections. But I mean, it's like any other famous musician. They have significantly more rejections than they do successes. Everybody has a success story, you know, and at some point they did something that day that worked and they won the job. And that's the thing with auditions, the caliber of musicians that go to these auditions, they're very, very similar. It's very rare that you'll go to an audition and they can barely play the excerpts. Like, if you can't play them, you don't go. That's a waste of time and money.
Yeah, they're looking at like really minute details, and there's often like very subjective decisions being made.
And not only that, but sometimes your sound is not what they're looking for. Sometimes the vibrato that you play with is just not what they want. With a second flute audition or a piccolo audition, oftentimes you will play with the other members of the section for the final round, and that can be a little scary because if you can't match vibrato, if you can't match pitch and tone,
right, they've got their own thing established,
yes,
and you are trying to assimilate to that.
Yes, and if you can't do it, then it's over. Right. It's not that you're not a great musician, it's just you're not the fit for that group. Ugh. And that's okay. You just have to look at it as it's still a success because you improved, because you did all that work.
Right.
It makes such a difference.
Yeah, I'm sure that can be hard to keep that mindset, though.
Yeah, you just have to think, okay, well, I didn't win. It's not because I didn't play well. We'll get them next time.
Yeah. All right, so I need to do a weather report real quick. And we haven't mentioned this on mic, but you did bring a flute to the studio with you today. So maybe while I'm doing this weather report, you could get ready to play what you brought in.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll jump in here. Current time is 4:34 p.m. It's sunny. Temperature is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Feels a little bit warmer than that at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. We've got 0% precipitation and 52% humidity with 5 mile per hour winds coming from the east. And if I look ahead a little bit, looks like it's just going to cool down as the night comes. And nothing really important is going to happen. I'm sure if you need more detailed weather, you can look it up yourself. So, Rose, what are you going to play for us today? It's all right. They can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I'm playing Philippe Gaubert's Nocturne from the Nocturne and Allegro Scherzando.
Okay, cool.
And it's originally for flute and piano, but I'm obviously just going to play the flute part.
Right, we're going to do that without the piano today. My mic wasn't on. Whoops. All right, that was great. Can you tell us again what that was? Just give us the title and the composer.
Philippe Gaubert, Nocturne from the Nocturne Allegro Scherzando.
Great.
For
All
flute
right.
piano.
Which movement is that?
The first movement.
Okay, first movement. Great. All right, so how long have you been working on that?
I worked on it a little bit during my master's degree, and I performed it for one of my juries. And with a master's, it's very fast-paced, so you learn a piece, you play it, and then you go on to the next one, you go on to the next one.
Yeah.
So I revisited this piece after one of my students performed it earlier in the spring, and I performed this piece at the Philadelphia International Music Festival, the summer festival that I went to, in concert and in a master class. And I just really love this piece. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice. So you mentioned briefly your students. You mostly teach at West, is that right?
For my private students, yes.
Yeah. And how many students are there?
Right now, I have 28, mostly because some of them graduated, and I had to cut back.
How many did you have last year?
I hit 60.
Okay, wow.
During my peak of pneumonia, I had 60.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And what's the split in terms of like half hours or hour-long lessons?
Now, most of them are hour.
Okay.
Yeah, the majority of them are about an hour or 45 minutes.
Okay.
The only half-hour ones that I teach are my junior high kids that I've had since they started. I have students that I started in 5th grade that are juniors now. You know, I've had them forever. They're my babies.
Yeah.
And they're all driving now, which is crazy.
Yeah. You're going to be having to help them prepare for college auditions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Started doing that last 2 years ago, actually. One of my students is studying at the University of Iowa. I started her in high school, and now she's studying with my flute mom.
Yeah.
Professor Esposito.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should mention 3 weeks ago we had Emily Duncan in the studio,
Yes.
who is also a child of Nicole. Did you guys hang out a lot?
Oh,
when
yeah.
you were both
She's
students
one of
here?
my best friends.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she was great on the show, and she was one of my theory students back then, so we know each other that way.
Nice.
Yeah. So your career is mostly focused right now on like classical stuff, symphony excerpts and stuff like that. But you've recently been working with the Durward Ensemble.
Yes.
And they're mostly a new music
Yes.
group. So I guess just tell me about them. I don't know a whole lot about them. I know they've performed and recorded a piece by Lisa Neer, who is a friend of mine. But yeah, just tell me what Durward's all about.
Well, we're a very unique ensemble. We're not a complete chamber orchestra. We are comprised of flute, 2 clarinet, saxophone, violin, viola, cello, trumpet, trombone, bass trombone, piano, and percussion, and a conductor. So it's a very interesting group. And our founder, Matt Driscoll.
Yeah, right.
He started the group a couple years ago, and there wasn't a lot of music written for this particular ensemble, so we started commissioning our own. And we've commissioned about a dozen pieces, and last weekend we recorded our first CD of commissioned pieces by all women composers that will be released next month, sometime next month in September. We're really excited about it. In going forward, we are doing a lemonade stand on next weekend, actually, next Sunday.
That's on. Oh, is it on Sunday? I thought it was on Saturday.
No, yeah, I think you're right. It is Saturday.
Yeah, I have
August
the
18th.
Yeah. Okay. So where did you record that last weekend?
We recorded it at KRUI.
Okay, cool. I've well, this was back in high school, but I've recorded stuff at KRUI.
Nice. It's a great hall.
Yeah, it is nice. And these are all pieces by women composers.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So what's in terms of the ensemble, what's your split in terms of men and women?
It's about 50-50.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, we are really working on commissioning pieces by sort of the minorities. So women, people of color, there's just not a lot out there. And so the goal for us is just commissioning pieces and playing them and seeing what happens. I mean, we've really enjoyed working together with these projects.
Yeah.
We're very new.
Yeah, you've only been around a couple of years. So we might as well list everybody's names. Who's all in the group? So Matt Driscoll conducts.
He actually plays trombone.
Oh, he plays in the ensemble. Okay.
Yes, he plays trombone.
Good. And you are on flute.
Yes. Then we have Lisa Wissenberg on clarinet.
Right.
And Christine Bellamy plays clarinet for us as well. We have Jessica Altafich on violin. James Ellis on cello. We got a new viola for this recent project. I am blanking on his name currently. Let's see. Matthew Halbert for bass trombone. Aaron Van Housen for trumpet. Alan Kaiser and Jeremiah De La Pena for percussion.
Is he still an undergrad student? The percussionist?
I think so.
Yeah, I've seen him at shows before. He's pretty young.
Yeah, he's solid.
Yeah, he's great. I've heard him. He played with the Cedar Rapids Municipal Band this summer.
Yeah,
he's great.
He's very good.
I'm looking for your violist. Is he on your website yet?
Mike Pfeiffer.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Laura Beth Resnichek is also on percussion. We have Abby Brewer on piano. And Ryan Smith on saxophone.
Yep, Ryan's a good guy.
And Michelle Perrin-Blair for our conductor.
Right, she conducted for the recordings last
Yes.
weekend. Is she usually your conductor as well for performances?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's something to look out for. Do you have a list of the pieces that are on that CD that's going to come out?
I don't. We are, I think, still finalizing.
Got it.
which ones are
Okay.
being
So
put
you
on there.
don't want to leak that yet. But you can find information about the Durward Ensemble at, I think it's durwardmusic.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. And where does the name Durward come from?
It was Matt Driscoll's grandfather's name.
Oh, cool. His first name or?
I believe so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's a unique first name, so I guess it makes for a good ensemble name as well.
Yes. Yeah, we've been around 2 years. We're really making a splash this year. With our lemonade stand that's happening next weekend, members of the ensemble will be performing chamber music, and we will have lemonade and baked goods for donations. It's going to be really fun, and it's going to be at the Big White House in Coralville from 1 to 4 on August 18th. And then going forward in February, we will be performing an all African American composers concert. And then in the spring, we'll be performing as part of the Iowa Composers Forum.
Awesome. Yeah, the ICF is an old institution here as well. Mm-hmm. I need to play a grant spot now. This is also on a random rotation, so I don't know what we're going to get. So let's see.
Support for KRUI is brought to you in part by the Englert Theater. The Englert highlights the talents of local performers, artists, ensembles, and also hosts regional, national, and international touring performances. The Englert is located at 221 East Washington Street. For more information, call 319-688-2653 or visit www.englert.org.
Yes, Englert Theater, a favorite here in Iowa City. Have you guys played at the Englert?
I have not played as part of Durward, but I've performed there. That's where we used to do our operas for the University of Iowa.
Right.
Did a few of them there, which was awesome. I had a great time.
It seems like they would have Durward for a show at some point.
We'll see if we can
you
make
guys
that
want to
happen.
try for that? Yeah.
The last couple times, though, that I went there was for the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Were you playing in that?
No, just...
Do they have
going.
flute in the score? I can't think if they do or not. They're pretty supportive of local ensembles and bands and stuff, so I would think that they'd be down to have you guys.
That would be amazing, yeah.
So I guess I want to know a little bit about what you guys have already done. So how many performances have you guys played? Have you been with the group from the beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
I did not play the two that we had last fall. I had to go out of town. But I've played all the others from the original member. And going forward, we've sort of settled, I believe, on our members. So
the group you have now is like, this is
the group.
it. This is it. Okay.
Yeah, we're really excited. We've made a lot of changes and we've made a lot of plans. So this year's going to be big. It's going to be really big, and you'll have to wait and see.
All right, so there's some secrets, I guess. What was the last public performance you guys have had?
It was in January.
Okay, so a while back now.
Yes, so we did a residency at Illinois State University, and we played all of the pieces that we just recorded, except for one, and it was awesome. We did a sort of a run-out concert, a one and done, and it was great.
Do you have any favorites among those compositions?
Lisa Nayer's piece.
Yeah? Okay, cool.
Hands down. I mean, it's about a tornado. It's
Right,
called Twister. Right. It's awesome. As someone who wants to see a tornado as part of their bucket list.
You've never seen one?
No.
All right. Do they have those in Georgia?
Yes, but not as common as you might think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a few years in Nebraska as a kid. We had plenty of them there. We get a lot of tornadoes in Iowa as well.
Yeah.
Kind of surprised you haven't seen one yet.
I mean, I don't want to see like destruction. I just want to see it from really far away.
Right. Yeah.
Out in the cornfield somewhere.
Yeah, they can be pretty damaging, but I mean, if you just see it from afar, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It could kill you, but you're far away from it.
Yeah.
So, what should we talk about now?
Well, I have something that I could talk about.
Yeah.
So as part of my position at Cornell College, I am hosting a flute day, September 22nd. It's a Saturday. It's for junior high and high school flutists, and it's an honor band and all-state prep day. We will be there will be master classes for junior high and high school kids for their all-state and honor band audition materials. And there will be a big flute choir performance in the afternoon that everyone's welcome to participate in. I am bringing alto flutes, bass flutes, and a big contrabass flute.
Sweet. Where'd you get that?
A friend of mine out in the Des Moines area has one, and she's bringing it. It's going to be great.
That's nice.
Yes, my friend Megan Hofelt. She plays with me in the Audition Symphony. She's awesome. She's been one of my biggest inspirations, honestly.
Yeah.
So she's bringing that, and I commissioned a piece by flutist and composer Nicole Chamberlain that has beatboxing in it.
Oh, cool.
For the kids.
We talked about that a lot when Emily was here. She's been getting into that as well.
I am just starting, so I can't demonstrate it quite yet very effectively. But the kids they're going to have a blast. It's totally free. The only thing they have to pay for is lunch, which is like $6. It's not that much, but it's going to be a really fun day. Really, really good for the kids. So.
You said that's September 22nd?
22nd.
Okay,
Yep.
and that's at Cornell?
Yep, and you can find more information about that on my website, which is rosebishopflute.com.
Yes, rosebishopflute.com. You can look for Flute Day.
Yes, Flute Day.
I looked at your website earlier. It's on the top bar on the right.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so you can find Flute Day information there.
Yes.
I'll also link it in the description for this show when I upload it.
Oh, great.
Yeah. What else do you have coming up? We've covered the lemonade stand. We've covered your flute day. Do you have any performances?
Yes. Starting in September is when all of the orchestras get started back. We have a big Pops concert coming up with the Southeast Iowa Symphony. It's a John Williams concert, which I'm super excited about because I love John Williams more than anything in the world.
Really? Which is your favorite?
Star Wars.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, we're playing Star Wars. It's going to be awesome.
What's your number 2 then? Just to be interesting.
I don't know. They're all really good. Star Wars is like just the top of the list.
Right. Everyone loves it.
Yeah. So we have that coming up, which is Saturday, September 15th. And that's going to be in Ottumwa at the Bridgeview Center. And then also we're doing Burlington, Iowa on Sunday, September 16th at 6 p.m. And you can find more information of my upcoming concerts also on my website.
Great.
There's a lot
you have a well-maintained website, which is very good.
One of the biggest things that I'm most excited about for this year is I'm doing a residency at Kansas Wesleyan University in the spring. I am giving the Midwestern premiere of Peter Senchuk's Flute Concerto for Flute and Wind Ensemble. A dear friend of mine, Carl Rolls, is the conductor and director of bands, and he invited me as part of the commission. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'll be performing the concerto as well as a recital and giving master classes to the college students as well as run out concerts for the local schools.
That's great. And you said that's going to be in the spring?
Yes, it's in March.
Cool. And did Carl commission the piece? Is that what
He
you
was
said?
part of the consortium.
Okay, so
Yes.
it's a group of people that,
Yeah.
that commissioned that. Good. And that's for flute and wind ensemble. Have you played a concerto with a wind ensemble before?
I have, also with Carl,
Yeah.
at Monmouth University.
What'd you think?
Or Monmouth College. Yeah, it was great. I did Cecile Chaminade's concerto for flute and wind ensemble, concertino for flute and wind ensemble. And that was 3 years ago. It was right as I was finishing my master's.
And have you played as a soloist with an orchestra as well?
No.
Okay, so
Not yet.
that's something you haven't hit yet.
Yeah. It's coming.
Yeah. I'm interested to see like what you feel the differences are when you're soloing in front of an orchestra as opposed to a wind ensemble. And you haven't done it with an orchestra yet, but
Yeah.
you may have thoughts anyway.
Well, it's all about, you have to know what everyone's doing. You have to know their part better than your own so that you can react if something happens. You know, it's like any other group that you play in. You have to know what everybody else is doing. Because if someone misses a beat, you have to decide with either the conductor or around you, what do you do? How do you react? It can be scary, but, you know, you get used to it.
Do you have any specific experiences in mind when you say it can be scary?
Um,
That's something that I feel is kind of hard to put into words, like a moment like that.
Well, so back to the Matt Smith piece that I had played. I performed that in a competition a few years ago, and the piano part is really difficult, in addition to the piccolo part also being really difficult. And the pianist was sight reading,
Oh boy.
which did not go over well.
Yeah.
Because again, it's really, really difficult. And we got to this one section where it's triplets, and I have 16th notes. And he jumped a beat.
Right. He probably thought you were going too fast.
No, he just...
Well, it's hard to keep that together anyway.
Yeah, it's hard to keep something together when it's really fast and you're sight reading.
Yeah.
And I had to react. You know, I heard it as soon as it happened, and I jumped too. And it was really scary. Like, it's like a fight or flight kind of feeling. You just have to do it.
So how did, if he was sight reading, how did you know the piano part well enough ahead of time?
So you listen to it constantly. Yeah.
So you knew it from recordings.
Yeah. I had a couple of recordings by some other flutists that had played it, and I just listened to it on repeat. And that's when you take any audition, when you do any performance, you have to know everything that's happening in every part, whether it's just piano or a full orchestra part. You have to know exactly what's happening.
It's a pretty daunting task.
It's not too bad once you get used to it.
Right.
You know, again, it's all that fight or flight. You learn to deal with it.
So in this analogy, fighting is continuing to play the piece,
Yeah, I mean,
and flight would be
just stopping.
just leaving.
Yeah, piecing out.
Yeah. So have you ever had to fly instead of fight?
No, I'm not. That's not my personality.
That's good. That's good.
I dig in and I'm like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Any disasters in your past?
No, that was, I think, the scariest one that I had ever experienced.
Yeah, that's good.
That competition, and I jumped. I placed. I got honorable mention, which I felt was pretty good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
But
For a
and then I
sight-reading
got to the
accompanist.
end and thought, wow, how did I do that?
Yeah.
It's all about the training. You know, you have to train to be able to do those kinds of things. It's all about a mindset. And if you think, okay, I'm never going to be able to do this, I can't do it, then your brain is going to stop. So you have to train yourself to not stop. You through sight reading, through performing as much as you can. I mean, it's a process.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Just like train yourself to just be ready to just not stop.
Yeah, you're only
guess.
as good as your training.
Like the only bad decision would be to just stop playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as you keep going, you've made some music.
Yes. But if you stop, it's over.
Yeah.
You're dead in the water.
Right.
And that's something I teach my students. We work on sight reading every lesson. I feel that's really, really important. And they're getting into that mode where they keep going. You don't want one mistake to become an avalanche, especially in something like an all-state audition or a college audition. You have to just, set your heels and do it.
Yeah, and I think starting early on that is a good move.
Yes.
Because then they'll build up the confidence necessary to just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
definitely.
a mistake can trip you up pretty bad if you haven't made a million mistakes already.
Well, and we're human,
Yeah.
we're always going to make mistakes, and that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. The important thing is how you react to that mistake.
Right.
Do you give up? That's not fun.
Yeah.
You can't give up. You have to keep going.
If you give up, that's the end of everything, right?
If you give up,
Like,
you've already lost. So
Yeah, might as well try to do something instead.
Definitely.
All right, so we're reaching the end of the show here today. Do you have anything else you want to plug before we go?
Just thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah,
on
thanks
your
for coming
show.
in. It's been great. Yeah.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, I'll
Thank
make
you.
sure to put links of all the stuff that you mentioned in the description for the
great.
episode so people can find those.
And thank you to everyone listening. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. All right, so I have a few things I need to plug before we go. Again, the iHearIC Fall 2018 concerts have been scheduled and booked at venues. I won't go through the whole list again, but you can find it at iHearIC.com. I have a plug from Laura Fellman, which I've brought up a couple times. She's a poet that reads at our shows frequently. There's a free generative writing workshop open mic on September 9th. It's a Sunday. It's at 4 p.m. at Iowa City Public Library. She told me it's open to any writers who want to get involved. So if you like writing poetry, any of that stuff, just go and hang out, whatever. After that, on September 13th, Feed Me Weird Things and Film Scene presents Everything is Terrible, The Great Satan. They are a video found footage collage making group. It's pretty interesting. I love their stuff. You can find them at The Mill at 8 p.m. on September 13th, doing a show featuring all of their weird thrift store videos mashed together. They make really interesting stuff. I'll be there. A lot of my friends will be there. Come say hi to us if you're there. Next week, I'll be doing a radio show here at KRUI again at 4 p.m. That's August 19th, and I'll have special guest Divine Huff, who hosts another KRUI show here called A Moment with Divine. I was on her show, I think 2 weeks ago. It's on at 5 on Thursdays. You can listen to my appearance on her show on the KRUI SoundCloud, and then that'll prepare you for her appearance on this show next Sunday. I mentioned the website already. It's iHearIC.com. On that page, you'll find links to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Patreon pages, as well as podcast links to our iTunes, Google Play, Mixcloud, SoundCloud, and Stitcher pages. Every episode of this radio show gets recorded and released on those pages, and I have links to artist websites and pretty much every event I mention on the show in those episode descriptions. So you can find everything I've been talking about in the description. And if you have music that you would like us to hear, or shows coming up that we should know about, or you want to play on one of these upcoming iHearIC concerts, or you just want to say hi, the best way to reach us is iHearIC@gmail.com. All right, that's the end of my long plugs list. I think we're ready to go. Thanks again for coming in, Rose.
Thank you.
We had a good time talking today. At some point, we'll have you back. We'll talk some more.
Great.
Maybe talk
Sounds
about
great.
more symphony auditions.
Yes.
Because you seem to have some that you're preparing for. So maybe we'll have big news in the future, huh?
I think so.
Yeah? Sweet. All right. So let's call it a day. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you next week. Bye.
Hey.
I am a golden god!
89.7 KRUI.
What you gonna play now? Bobby? I don't know. But whatsoever I play, it's got to be funky.
You're listening to KRUI, Iowa City.